Hey folks, Lenny Lawson here, the car guru. Have you got your spring cleaning laundry list lined up, organized, prioritized? I do. My wife and I have been working on it, and I don't like what I'm seeing. I've been working on some possible excuses that I can use this year to kind of get out of some of the more strenuous ones. My hip would be one. You know, she does have some sympathy for that, for sure. I didn't get my new barn. I was going to build let's see, what was my size? Final size was like 40 by 60. And I was going to try to make it pretty, but I didn't get it. The bathroom remodel ate up those funds. You know, you would never think, well, you might think, that it costs so much money to remodel a bathroom. My goodness, who would have thought tile in a shower would be so expensive? Of course, I bet people say that about cars, don't they? Don't you? I get it. I understand. I have to deal with this on a regular basis. People that need repairs, kind of puts them in shock. A lady had to buy a battery the other day, good friend of mine. I might have mentioned this on the show. I had to go rescue her. And it then ended up, she got 45,000 miles out of her battery. But this particular vehicle requires a specific type of battery. And I remember when batteries were $59, and it's just hard for me to understand how a battery can cost almost $300. But it's no wonder. Look what batteries cost for electric cars. One of my technicians had a F-150 Lightning truck, had the battery out of it. Second time we've had the battery out of this particular one. It has several different modules have gone bad. I think that's a cluster of batteries, of lithium-ion battery packs. But it's funny how that works. He gets a notification from Ford. He doesn't even know he has a problem, but Ford does, because he's got 5G, LTE, whatever, in his vehicle, and it's whenever it's close to an internet signal. Well, I guess even when it's roaming around, it's just like a cell phone. If it has something that's not right, it's being monitored, apparently, by Ford. I know that they monitor whenever you're on Blue Cruise, you know, the cruise control, the hands-free driving. I love it, but my free trial period is apparently over. Ford sent me a notification. This is an F-150 that I own. It's not a Lightning. It's not an electric truck. But it's got Blue Cruise, hands-free driving. Well, it will until the end of April. And then I'm going to have to drive. Because I'm not paying $49 a month to get the vehicle to drive for me. I like it, but I don't like it that much. You know what they were going to charge for it? $89 a month. And I guess they had some pushback. I still think, maybe $19.95. That sounds good. That sounds like something on the Home Shopping Network. Okay, what am I talking about today? Well, I'm going to talk about ways to ruin the value of your investment. And I'm calling your car an investment, or your SUV, or your truck. I know. It's a lousy investment from an investment standpoint. I mean, normally, we want our investments to go up in value. During the pandemic, some of them did. Vintage cars do. That's why I buy and collect vintage cars. One of the reasons. I like looking at them. They generate a lot of enthusiasm in my showroom. Right now, I've got 3 in there. Well, 4. One in the Nissan showroom, a 280Z, 1978. But yeah, people just love them. That's one reason. The other reason is if you buy them right, and you get the right cars at the right prices, then they will go up in value better than just about any other investment I've had. Do you track how your investments do, if you have any? A lot of people don't. You can track how your car investment's going. It's probably not going good, but it can go a lot worse if you make these mistakes. These simple things that you can do or not do that can greatly impact the value of your vehicle when you go to trade it or to sell it to somebody. You may just decide to sell it on Facebook Marketplace. I've been really successful lately, folks, on Facebook Marketplace. I had a buddy of mine call me from Oak Ridge, Tennessee. He said, Lenny, you know anybody that'd be interested in this trailer? It was a 4x6 Hallmark, Haulmark, trailer, very small, had a folding like a clamshell top, had a little toolbox made out of metal on the front that you could store extra stuff. But it was just like a small traveling trailer, like if you needed extra place to carry luggage or fishing equipment or whatever. He wanted to know if I had any interest in it or knew anybody that would. And I said, well, let me put it on Facebook Marketplace. Sold it in 2 days. We tore out the the cabinetry in our bathroom and had a granite countertop with 2 sinks in it. Sold it in 3 days. Plus, the people are coming to get it. I don't have to take it anywhere. That's wonderful. I hope they don't rob me, when they come pick it up. I hear that happens sometimes. Okay, I'm going to take my first break, and we'll come back and we'll talk about the things that ruin the value of your vehicle sitting in your driveway. Or maybe you're driving it right now. I'll be back in just 1 minute. Okay, folks, these things that will ruin the value of your vehicle, your investment. What is your goal anyway? Your goal is to make it depreciate less or more slowly. It's going to depreciate, but you don't want it to depreciate as much as somebody else's is going to depreciate. And you have the power over this. Now, of course, a lot of it has to do with what you bought in the first place. I mean, if you bought a Hyundai, then, it's going to drop in value pretty quickly. If you got a base model vehicle, instead of getting one with all the goodies like a sunroof and leather and, automatic climate control, if you've got the middle grade versus the top grade. For example, an F-150 XLT isn't going to be worth as much as a Platinum. Of course, you didn't pay as much for it, but there are certain things that you add for that add value. Mileage is something that's going to really hurt the value of your vehicle. But if you have to go, you got to go. The only alternative is to bum rides, but that's not why you have a car. So the first thing that people do to ruin the value of their car is they just don't maintain it. They've never even gotten the owner's manual out of the plastic in the glove box. All they do is some people just wait till the oil light comes on. Change oil soon. Oh, go to the quick lube. That's one of the biggest mistakes that you can make. We'll talk about that in just a second, as far as abandoning the dealership and when should that happen. But you got to know what your recommended maintenance is. And if you use a planner or a calendar or something, just put it on there. Put reminders in your phone. Everybody has a cell phone now. Maybe if you're still using a flip phone, good for you. But if you're using a smartphone, you can put reminders in there. I've seen customers go 2 and 3 years and not change their oil, don't even check it. And then they have a problem, some kind of a knocking noise in their engine. They bring it in, and then they just go up and down. Oh, I know I changed my oil. When? There's no stickers. There's nothing. You've got sludge in the top of your engine. And they still owe 36 months on it at $700 a month, and they got to put an engine in it because they didn't maintain it. Now, I know that's not you, but you'd be surprised how many people that's the way they look at things. They don't change the oil in their lawnmowers either. They don't clean their vinyl siding. They don't store stuff in their basement or garage. They put it on the front porch. They also think your yard is a great place to throw a liquor bottle because they know it's going to get picked up. They don't maintain anything. But you should, and you should keep records. And one of the most important things you do is just keep every repair order, every receipt. And don't take it to the big box stores to get the oil change or these quick lube places. Take it to a dealership that sells the product that you're driving. I know it's not as convenient. It's not top of mind, but you can make an appointment. You can get it done. And anytime you sell your vehicle to somebody, it can pull out those dealership ROs. It gives them warm fuzzies. It makes them feel good because they know that dealerships, they charge a little more, and it's not as much more as you think because they have to be competitive. Have to be. The only good thing about a fast lube place is that you can do it right now. It's like going to Pal's. You can wait in line and get your big T. You can wait in line and get your oil changed. And it's pretty fast. You think about it, you say, got to get my oil changed. You go get in line. That's the only thing good about it. Everything else is not good, including the filters that they use and the generic oils that they use. They use the cheapest stuff that you can buy. If you go to the Toyota store, they're going to use Toyota filters. They're going to use the oil that Toyota recommends. And they're going to do a checklist of items to make sure that everything's good with your car, not just your oil. It might take 20 minutes longer, but it's worth it. So the second thing that I was going to say is people abandon the dealership too soon. When should you abandon the dealership as far as service is concerned? In my mind, never. But some people think, as soon as the warranty runs out, I'm good. I can go anywhere I want to go. Yeah, you can go anywhere you want to go from day one. You don't have to take it to the dealership. That's what I recommend that you do, and that's what you should do if you're going to make sure that some type of maintenance schedule is going to be followed, and it's going to track with your owner's manual and your maintenance book that's still wrapped in plastic in your glove box, if it's in your glove box at all. I know, I'm being overly critical. Sorry. And another thing, if you take it to the dealership, the records are there. They stay there. You can walk into the dealership 2 years from now, say, I want the copies of all of my repair orders, all the work I've had done. Within probably 5-10 minutes, there's all your copies. So you don't necessarily have to retain them. And when you pull your service history on a Carfax or AutoCheck, there's the history, because all the dealers report automatically through their dealer management systems. It just works better, folks. Oh boy, my life's going to be threatened over this. So what's the next one? Well, this is blatant, folks. This is something that you really need to pay attention to, and that's poor body and paint repairs. I don't know what the percentage of people that wreck their car and have to have body work and paint work done. It's a pretty large percentage, but when you do, it's critical to get it done right. Now, if you have a relationship with a body shop you've done business with over the years, same continuous ownership, they always do quality work, that's where you want to go. Unfortunately, most car dealerships, new car dealerships, don't have body shops anymore. They couldn't make any money. The insurance companies pushed down so hard on how long it takes to repair a car and how much it costs to repair a car that the dealer said, to heck with this. We'll just sell parts to the body shops that are making repairs. But many of those body shops, instead of buying parts from the dealers, which are original equipment manufactured parts, they fit the way they're supposed to. They buy Chinese-made parts, and they buy LKQ, like, kind, and quality. You know what that means? From a junkyard. This is a fender that has been taken off of a wrecked car. It's not painted the same color as your car. And they have to, many times the body shops have to do some retrofitting and some extra work, extra body work to make the thing acceptable so that they can put it on your car. And then there's the whole understanding about how much are they going to paint on your car. If you're hit on the left front fender and the hood, and they have to paint your hood and your fender, they might have to paint part of your door to make it match. Depending on the color, that can be a real problem. And so, I've seen cars that have been hit in the side, and they just couldn't get the paint to match. They had to paint the whole side of the car. Now, when they do that, are they painting the door jambs as well? Because if you don't, then you're going to have tape lines. And tape lines are the first thing that most used car managers look for and feel for when they're trying to trade for a car. You'll see them. If they're looking at your car, they're going to open the door and they're just going to rub their hand along the edge of the door. Same thing with the hood. They'll open the gas door as well to see if they can see any overspray, because body shops, they don't pay any attention to, where you put your gas in many times. And you'll see overspray in there. Sometimes they look underneath the car. They'll see overspray on the frame. The body shops are in such a hurry and they're under pressure, like I say, from the insurance companies to get you back on the road, because the insurance companies don't want to pay for the repairs and for an extended rental car period. So they push the body shops. And, they push the body shops to use the cheapest parts that they can find. I understand if I owned an insurance company, I'd probably feel the same way. But I don't own an insurance company. You don't either. You own the car, and you want it fixed right. You don't want them to destroy the value of your car. But before they do any body repairs to your car, take pictures of your car before they fix it. Again, we're talking about warm fuzzies of the people who are going to buy it, because if it shows up on a Carfax that it's had an accident, you can, oh, let me show you the pictures. It was just a deer. I ran into a deer, and it hit my headlight and got into my fender, and here's a copy of the estimate. Oh, okay, well, that's nothing. No, it is nothing. So pay me. Well, you probably won't say it that way, but at least you have some good evidence. And instead of them depreciating your car $5,000 in their head, they may not depreciate your car in their head at all. They may just say, well, that's no big deal. Or they may knock off would you knock off $500 because it's had paint work? It's better than $5,000. And that's what can happen. A lot of car dealerships will beat you up because you show an accident on your Carfax report. They'll just, like the sky is falling. What are we going to do? And it really may not be any big deal at all, but you don't have any evidence. You don't have a copy of the estimate. I can't tell you how many times I have talked to somebody and they say, well, yeah, I think it was just a little fender bender and the whole front end was knocked off the car and airbags were deployed. Not that people are going to lie, but sometimes they just forget really big. Okay, let's look at my list here again. Oh, another thing is something my wife has right now. It's an affliction. It's called car wash addiction. I mean, she likes a clean car. I get it. And we used to have a detail shop back here that could handle a lot of volume, but we can't find anybody that wants to work. So that's kind of a problem I won't get into. But when you go to a car wash, every time you get your car washed, and if you do it like every week or every couple of weeks, you're damaging your car. Your paint is taking a beating, especially the black plastic parts on your car. Sometimes they are on the B pillar or the C pillar. It could be on a lot of different places where they use that black plastic. It's not painted, but if you look at it in the sun, it's got all these scratches on it. Guess where those came from? The car wash. So I don't have a problem going through a good quality car wash like maybe once a month or every quarter or something like that. But, just get you some mitts or mittens or mitts, wash mitts, and a 5-gallon bucket from Lowe's and some Meguiar's car soap, and get out there and get some exercise. And make sure you buy a good quality chamois or a drying cloth, because if you don't, it'll water spot, and that's not good either. Another thing people do is they avoid detailed cleaning of the interior of their car. Now, bless those people who go through the car wash and then pull around, get out, and vacuum their car. Make sure you're getting under the seats. And if you have stains and they're fresh stains, do your best to get them out as soon as possible, because the longer they stay there, they just become part of the family. And you stop paying attention to them. I saw a car the other day with cloth seats. I don't see a lot of cars with cloth seats anymore. Most of them have leather. But this one had cloth seats, and I was reluctant to go in there because I didn't know what I was going to catch. And, that I don't understand that. I guess people just become accustomed to that. But, that can definitely impact the value of your vehicle. If a used car manager that's looking at your vehicle doesn't even want to get in it, you're off to a bad start. Meguiar makes some really good interior cleaning products. I'm not a big Armor All fan, but anything you can do to keep your dash clean. Do not use abrasive chemicals like any type of window cleaner on your instrumentation, all those screens. You're supposed to use water and a special kind of cloth for that, or you're going to ruin it. You're going to scratch it and ruin it. And then the final thing is to get a detailing brush. I don't know why manufacturers make grooves where every bit of dust and food particle tends to just go in there and they're impossible to get out. Sometimes you need a pocket knife and a little brush, and you can work wonders on your console and on different pieces on your dash. Just be careful not to stab through a screen or something. I had a technician do that one time. He was taking the plastic off of one and just careless and stabbed a $1,400 screen on a car. No screen stabbing, please. Okay, I'll take my last break. I'll be back in just a minute. Now, we haven't had much of a winter around here, But if you're listening on a podcast and you're in upstate Washington, I've got a few listeners up there in New York and Pennsylvania and places like that. You know that you need to pressure wash the underside of your car and your inner fenders, don't you? That's really important. Get under there and get in every nook and cranny. And you're going to get wet doing this. Just, wear some play clothes. But get under there and clean that as much as possible. You don't have to use soap. That would be better. But get and clean all that salt and other stuff from underneath your vehicle. It does make a difference, folks. Somebody comes in here and there's rust spots peeking their way through the fenders on vehicles and the bedside. I mean, it's just like, okay, what are we going to do? Because we have to take it to a body shop and get it fixed. And it may be 2 months before that vehicle ends up on our lot. It's going to cost you money. You get that stuff taken care of by, cleaning out all of those different places where the water can collect. They're all over the bed of a truck, for example. There are these little holes that are designed to let the water get out. And when those get plugged up with mud and salt and all that stuff, then the moisture can't get out. And what it ends up doing is causing corrosion. And it's really bad if the car has been underwater, which there's a lot of them out there that have been. And people have tried to clean them up and sell them to unsuspecting folk. And then the final thing, probably one of the most important things you can do, it's a little late for some of you because you let it go too far. But one of the best things you can do is get your car professionally detailed before you try to sell it and before you drive into the dealership. A lot of people think that, it's a spur-of-the-moment decision. Let's go buy a car. Let's go car shopping. Before you go, get your car detailed. It may cost $300 or $400 to have it done, but it could generate some significant returns on that little investment to the tune of $1,500 or $2,000 because it makes a positive impression. I mean, if you were going to sell your house, wouldn't you pick up all the kids' toys and pressure wash the siding and make the yard look good? Of course you would. You want to make a good impression. You want people to think, well, I took care of this house, right? This does seem like common sense stuff, but like I say, the only thing common about common sense is that it's not very common. But that's why you listen to My Car Guru. Listen every day if you get a chance. And, if you have friends, let them listen. Tell them about it. All you have to do is you can actually go onto a podcast and you can share it with some of your friends. Listen to this guy. He makes sense. Have him call me, 423-552-2020, or send me an email to LennyLawson2020@gmail.com. And I'll see you next time.